So, anyone remembers what we discussed last time? Any key points from the last discussion? Anything you remember? Anything struck you? We discussed about the life balance, right? Till text number 17.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
It's a reflection that a Krishna conscious person is abstaining from ill disciplines and illicits in life. His life becomes disciplined, which helps step by step in attaining, you can say, liberation or attain moksha. And lewd doesn't affect him. That is very much important. Back to you.
So, very nice.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. We discussed in great detail about regulation in eating and regulation in sleeping. As per text number 6.17, chapter 6, text 17, one who is regulated in the habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all the material pains by practicing this yoga system. And we discuss multiple examples. Even in material life, one has to regulate one's habits. Otherwise, one will not achieve even material success. What to speak of attaining the higher destination of spiritual success. So, anyone else has one more point before we move to today's text number 18? Yes, Aradhana Mataji, yes, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, there was a statement you made that really affected me, and it was live your life in such a way that if I have to die today, then I will go back to Godhead. And it caused me to make some changes in my lifestyle so that I can achieve this goal. Back to you, Prabhuji.
Wonderful. Thank you. I just repeated that statement from His Grace Sankarshan Prabhu, who is one of the Prabhupada disciples. So, yes, this is a really powerful statement. And a sincere person like yourself certainly reflects. Self-reflection is very important in the path of bhakti. Otherwise, we may be, if it's said in one of the modern proverbs, if we continue to do the same things, we will continue to get the same result, right? That means if we continue to live a life of material sense gratification, material enjoyment, then the same result will be punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, again and again repeated birth and death. But if we want a different result, one of the definition of insanity is to do the same thing and expect a different result, right? So it would be insane to do the same thing and think I'll go back home, back to Godhead. No, we will, as you said, we will have to make some changes and modify our life, our routine, our habits, our eating, our sleeping, our recreation, our association, and things like that. So let's start today's discussion with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswate Devi Gaurvani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarini Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bhangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaham Namaha Pankajanaಭಾಯ Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanitraya Namaste Pankajangriye Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna, thank you so much for those who joined in the last few minutes. I'm very, very grateful to all of you for taking out your valuable time. I see so many wonderful devotees present, and some of you have turned your cameras also on. It really helps me so that I can know I can talk into some person. So thank you for doing that. So let's begin this chapter. 6.18. We are reading Dhyana Yoga, chapter 6. We will start with text number 18. And if you remember, the acronym is EASY. The E is for the enemy or friend, talking about the mind. A is for Ashtanga Yoga, from text number 10 to text 36 onwards. So we are in that part. So we will continue to read about the Ashtanga Yoga. And as we discussed earlier also, the Ashtanga Yoga, also known as Dhyana Yoga here, the 8 limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga process, and the Bhakti Yoga, the goal is the same, right? The goal is complete absorption in Krishna. But the trajectory or the path to that is different, correct? Sometimes you can go to a destination with multiple paths, using multiple paths. But there is an easy and a sublime path which everyone can take, whether male or female, young or old, rich or poor. And then there is a difficult path which only selected few will take with lot of ordeal, right? And we discussed last time that for Dhyana Yoga, the Grihasthas are outruled. One has to have a deer skin or a tiger skin, go to a secluded place. So we discussed all those parallels also. So now let's begin. You can raise your hand if you're interested to read, and keep it raised until your turn comes. So let's begin with text 18. Yes, Ravi Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna devotees. Yada vinyatam chittamatam yennavavatisthate nispriha sarva kame bhayo yukta iti uchyate tada. Translation by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. The point here is all these verses have a common theme actually, which we will be discussing today, is controlling mind and senses. This is a common theme to attain self-realization. If one thinks, one feels, one has this idea that without controlling mind and senses, one can achieve the higher taste, one can achieve the higher rasa of bhakti, that's basically illusion. One has to give up the lower taste by attachment and attraction towards the higher taste. As Prabhupada is giving here, the discipline. A perfect yogi is so well disciplined in the activities of the mind that he can no longer be disturbed by any kind of material desires. So devoid of material desires. Now, the difference between the Dhyana Yoga and the Bhakti Yoga, in the Dhyana Yoga, it's more about negation or abnegation of material desires. Don't do this, don't do this, don't. That's tough, right? If you tell a child, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, the child says, okay, tell me what to do. Bhakti Yoga is focused on the positive more. That's a big difference. Even while in the emotion, Dhyana Yoga means to stop material emotions, stop material desires. But Bhakti Yoga is to rekindle the spiritual emotion. We all have seen the X and the Y axis graphs, right? So there is a negative axis or the number line. There is a positive axis, right? Negative means material desires, right? Bad desires or material things. In the Dhyana Yoga, the process is to cut down the material desires. But what next? So at most it can bring up to is the zero level or the center of the number line. But in the Bhakti Yoga process, even though one may have a lot of material desires, it's a easy, sublime, and quick process to engage in spiritual desires or spiritual services, spiritual activities, devotional services. So one can not just come to zero level, but one can experience all the way up in the positive axis. Like in classic example, Srila Prabhupada asked one of his disciples, to build the deities, Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra Maharani deities. It was very early. He knew some carpentry work from his past. He took shelter of Prabhupada. But they had a lot of other habits like intoxication, etc. You know that the early, audience of Prabhupada were not very cultured in their habits. The point when they met Prabhupada at the early stages, they were into all sorts of drugs and rock and roll and trying new things. So this person was building or trying to make the deities, Lord Jagannath, Baldev deities. But on the deities' hands, it was like an ashtray or a cigarette. And Prabhupada very politely, with a lot of love and kindness, said, why do you want a cigarette to be in between you and the Lord? Very powerful message out of genuine love, like a father, like a guru. And then that person gave those wrong things. Not just gave the wrong things, not just came to the zero level, but came to a higher positive answer. So this is the main difference in the Dhyana Yoga and the Bhakti Yoga process. So discipline is very important. Shishya means, basically disciple means Shishya. Shishya means one who allows to be shasan, to do shasan or to live under the shasan of the Guru. Arjuna says, Shishyasteham shadi mam tvam prapannam. Right? Bhagavad Gita, that's the beginning of actually Bhagavad Gita when he takes shelter. Now I choose to live under your directions. All the words are very important. Krishna does not force anyone to live by his or his directions. But those who choose to live under his directions, as I was watching this drama, which I think I shared, very nice drama, same principle was taught there as well, that very few people choose to live under Krishna's Parth Sarthi. Krishna is called Parthasarthi, the chariot driver of Arjuna or Partha. Those who give the reins of the chariot of their life to Krishna, they will achieve their true destination. So that's disciple. Disciple means to live under discipline. It is, and same for a student, same for to control the mind. We're all students, right? We're all students in some way or the other. It is said, spare the rod, spoil the child, right? Because a student, a child wants to run in different directions, right? Bacche chanchal hote. They are flickering, right? They want to run in different directions. They want to explore different things. Even it could harm them, right? Even it could harm them. Like a child does not know that if in India there are roofs, a lot of children fall off the roofs. Sometimes they are not guarded. Sometimes there's no like fence around the roof. Lot of cases happen. The child does not know. The child wants to try, right? But now in US, the children try different things, and here it is said, it is there that His Holiness Bhakti Samit Maharaj was mentioning that if the children, if the parents are a little heavy upon the child tends to complain, not knowing the children are the real well-wisher. And we were reading this same thing in the Bhagavatam also yesterday. A less trained, a less intelligent person would think that those who are true well-wishers, he or she would consider them as the enemy. Rather, those who appear to be very flowery in their words, that person thinks that, oh, he is my true friend. Rather than the parents, the guru, who may be heavy upon the child or the disciple, the guru, the disciple or the student or the child may think that my parents are not really my well-wishers. So the point is, we should really understand that who is our true well-wisher. And we should try to live under discipline. Coming back to the verse, Prabhupada is quoting this verse, Savai Manah Krishna Padaravindayoh. And Prabhupada quotes this verse hundreds and hundreds of times in the Bhaktivedanta purports, many, many times. I mean, that how can we control? As I mentioned, that we have to focus on the positive, the mind engaged in the service of the Lord. Krishna Padaravindayoh. What about the ability to speak? Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunanuvarnani. Engage the ability to speak in talking about Krishna. In Karo Harira Mandira Marjana Vishu. Engage the hands. Kara is Tava Kara Kamala in cleaning the temple, cooking for Krishna, deity worship, and book distribution, prasad distribution, so many things. Shrutim Chakara Achyuta Sat Kathodayi. Prabhupada is basically sharing the example of Mahajana like Amrish Maharaj, how we should engage all our senses, our ears, our minds, our hands, our legs, our eyes, our nose, everything in a positive way. It's not that, okay, don't see bad, don't hear bad, don't do bad, but it's like a monkey. You tell monkey, don't think about banana. What will the first thing the monkey will think is banana, right? But if we give the positive engagement to the mind, and I think we all have experienced it, when we are so absorbed in a seva, like Janmashtami was just a few weeks back, 2 weeks back, and I hope that all of you celebrated in the best of the ability and situation. But when we are so absorbed, right? Let's say the day of Janmashtami and Abhishek is going on, and preparation for some dance or kirtan or bhajan, or some devotees have to come, decoration and books and bhoga preparations and venue decoration. Is there time to think of anything else? Right? Is there time to think of sense gratification? Is there time to think of something mundane? No. This is the transcendental formula given by Srila Prabhupada. And actually, this is real samadhi. Samadhi does not mean shanti, shanti, shanti. Samadhi means complete focus on Krishna. Samadhi. Sama means equal. The mind is completely focused without deviation on the process of bhakti at the lotus feet of Lord Savimana Krishna Padaravindayo. Prabhupada, this, if for those who want to learn, can learn this, at least the first one. All the how to engage our limbs, our senses, our minds in the service of the Lord is a very, very classic example here of Sri Ambarish Maharaj. And Prabhupada also makes a very nice point here in unless the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord, by constant remembrance, such transcendental. Can anyone read this section of the purport till the last?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Dandavat Pranam. Unless the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord by constant remembrance, such transcendental engagements are not practical. In the devotional service of the Lord, therefore, these prescribed activities are called aroma, archana, or engaging all the senses in the service of the Lord. The senses and mind require engagements. Simple abnegation is not practical. Therefore, for people in general, especially those who are not in the renounced order of life, transcendental engagement of the senses and the mind, as described above, is the perfect process for transcendental achievement, which is called yukta in the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't raise my hand, so I forgot.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Always. So nice purport, Prabhupada is concluding this verse. This is really yukta. Yukta means to engage, to connect, to harmonize our body, mind, senses in the service of the master of senses. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uttamam. Bhagavad Gita 9:34, Krishna says, Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame veshyasi yuktvaivam. Again, yuktvaivam is basically, comes multiple times, this word yukta or yuja, being absorbed, being connected, being in harmony in the service of Krishna. Abnegation or negation is like coming to zero level. But we can't stay there because the nature of the soul is to be active, right? We have discussed this. The nature of the soul is to be active. The soul needs something. The senses need some engagement, right? Will we like to be a place where, okay, there's no one to talk to, there's no one to nothing, just lie down, just sit there, no one, nothing, no, you don't do anything, no job, no work, nothing, no family, no relationships, no good, no bad, no nothing, no gadgets, nothing, just shanti, 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 right? Will anyone like to go to a place like that? No, nothing. No, we all want higher taste. We all want to chant, to dance. In ISKCON, there is a lot of emotion in the sense spiritual emotion, right? The day begins with dancing, Mangalarti, Darshanarti, Guru Puja. It's not like just sit and just focus on what? Just focus internally. Oh, focus on what? The Mayavadi schools or the Brahman realization, they are not able to understand the higher dimension of spiritual science. So the understanding is incomplete, as we discussed last time. His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu mentioned a very nice point. There is commotion of emotion in the ocean of devotion in the path of bhakti. Commotion of emotion in the ocean of devotion. He says a lot of these like one-liners, which really inspires me. So there is a lot of commotion of emotion. In Vrindavan, there is so much spiritual commotion of emotion, right? Sometimes fear, sometimes happiness, sometimes some wittiness, sometimes scared, sometimes all the different rasas are there. Parallelly, Indra is showering rain, and under the Govardhan, there is a torrents of rain of spiritual emotions. Krishna is exchanging different rasas with different devotees right there beneath the Govardhan hill. So this is bhakti. This is Krishna consciousness. And we all feel that, right? In the festival, like now Rath Yatra is there next week in Tampa. There is so much excitement. There is so much like dancing and distributing prasad, distributing books, sharing with new people, and seeing the Lordships, cooking for the Lordship. There is so much spiritual engagement. And this is the only way a bhakti yogi can nicely, be Krishna conscious. Let's read the next verse, text 19. Yes, Vipul Prabhu, want to read?
Hearts and devotees, Dhanava Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Text 19. Jatha dipo nibatostha nengate shopa ma smrita yogino yata chittasyo yano jato yagam atmana. As a lamp in the windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist whose mind is controlled remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Such one line purport, so we'll read that. A truly Krishna conscious person, always absorbed in transcendence, in constant, undisturbed meditation on his worshipable Lord, is as steady as a lamp in the windless place. I think we all have actually physically seen this, right? Lamp in the windless place and lamp in the windy space, right? We all have seen that. The lamp in a very unfavorable environment, winds will always shaking and moving around. So basically no concentration, right? And at times it can just die down also, right? We have all experienced that. We're sometimes trying to light a matchstick, but there is wind, it dies down, right? So, but one who is in the right environment, so how will we be unshakable? When we are in the right environment. It's a very nice lesson, because if we are always in the wrong company, no matter how strong one is in bhakti, we're not paramhamsas, right? So we need that good environment. But if you're always in the wrong environment, lack of association of devotees, lack of reading, lack of hearing, lack of spiritual enthusiasm, then very soon we'll start to shake in the path of bhakti. The lamp of devotion will start to shake. You all agree with that? And it may die down also, correct? So therefore, this verse is quite similar to Vyavasayatmika buddhir, that our intelligence, our buddhi should be Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bhahushakhayanantascha buddhayo avyavasayina. One whose intelligence is multi-branched, that person cannot be a true transcendentalist. We have to focus and we have to see what is favorable for bhakti. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjita. Take what is favorable, anukul. It will help to strengthen or to be more focused. Our bhakti, our enthusiasm, our determination. And if we reject the things which are unfavorable, that will also strengthen our devotion, right? We will have more time when we take the time out of the time wasters, the things which are not conducive for bhakti, or the engagements which are not conducive. So basically, then only the fire of bhakti will ignite. His Holiness Sachidanand Maharaj, he came to Alachua a few years back and gave a nice seminar. It is like, the lens, the concentrated lens. We all may have done this experiment. When the sun rays are concentrated with a medium of lens, it burns the paper, right? You have tried that. But if we take out the lens, the same sun rays would just make the paper lukewarm, correct? So if we have to ignite the fire of devotion, then there needs to be constant concentration, steadiness on the transcendental self, that is Krishna consciousness, undisturbed. Very high state, but we will study how to achieve that state also. So it's a short purport. So let's move on to the next verse. The 3 verses are together here. Let's read this. Anyone wants to read? Yes.
I do.
Yeah, please raise your hand so that I can, the flow is easier. If your hands are raised, I can. Yes, Vedi, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Yatra paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chevatmanam pashyan atmani tushyati sukham atyantikam yatad buddhigrahyam atindriyam veti yatra nachevyam stitaschalati tatvata yam labdva cha param labham manyate nadikam tata yasmin stito nathukena gurunapi vichalyate tam vidyathuka samyoga viyogam yoga samnitam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's abilities to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all the miseries arising from material contact. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for this. There are 4 verses together, 20, 21, 22, and 23. So the symptoms of those who are in the stage of samadhi, or the realizations, they are in the boundless transcendental happiness realized through transcendental senses. So the soul has spiritual senses, right? One time His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj was giving a class to devotees in London who can't see and who can't speak and who can't hear. Right. So therefore it's difficult for them to directly hear, and therefore there's this thing called sign language for them. The college I did my master's is actually known for that. The RIT, they have a special institute for those called and you may have seen, right, especially in US, you may have seen some interpreters or some like public speeches. They give a speech and then there's a person communicating through sign language. They have all the codes. In Krishna consciousness also some devotees have developed that. Like, what's the code for Krishna? What's the code for Radharani? And they, like how I'm talking, the same level of speed, they will communicate through the sign and the person will understand. Isn't that amazing? I certainly feel it's amazing. So someone asked this question that we can't hear, but Maharaj explained that the soul has spiritual senses. So even a blind person can see, and we see that in the story of Surdas, in the story of multiple Vrajavasis. They could not see from their eyes, but they could see from their spiritual eyes. So let's read this nice purport. Of course, it's a pretty long purport, so we'll not read every portion, but we'll read some sections of this. So first talking about samadhi. By the practice of yoga, one becomes gradually detached from the material concepts. This is primarily characteristic of the yoga principle, and after this one becomes rooted in the trance or samadhi, which means that the yogi realizes the super soul through transcendental mind and intelligence. Transcendental. This is not the material mind, right? Without any misgivings of identifying the self with the super self. So, next point here. So we have to basically first purify the material mind, the material senses, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, through the process of bhakti, which is primarily the chanting of the holy name. And then what happens? In this, to share this point here, the duality of knowledge and the knower is not accepted by the non-dualist, but in this verse, transcendental pleasure realized through transcendental senses is accepted. So very, very clear, even in the Patanjali Yoga system, there is mention of higher happiness or transcendental happiness or Chitta Shakti. Prabhupada is quoting a verse from Patanjali Yoga Sutras about the Chitta Shakti, and we discussed the Chit Shakti is basically the internal potency of the Lord, and the pleasure potency, etc. So after the here comes in the Bhagavatam, Swarupena Vyavasthitaha. It means one is situated in one's spiritual identity. Swarupena Vyavasthitaha. And the same thing is confirmed in this verse. One achieves the transcendental level, transcendental senses, transcendental happiness after nirvana, right? Which the Dhyana yogis aspire. There's a higher thing. There's a manifestation of spiritual activities or devotional service to the Lord known as Krishna consciousness. That is the goal of Dhyana yogis also, but as we have discussed, this is a tough path, not recommended for this day and age. Samadhi, Siddhi, Ishvara, Pranidhana. The Samadhi is the perfection, the eighth limb of yoga or Dhyana yoga, Ashtanga yoga. But Samadhi Siddhi, the perfection of Samadhi is Ishvara Pranidhana, the complete absorption in Krishna, with the Supreme Paramishvara, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha. This is Swarupena Vyavasthitaha, the real life of the living entity. Real life means basically the original position. Swarupa, the original self. This is just basically self-realization, understanding who am I. In the conditioned state, what do we realize ourselves as? Indian, American, black, white, male, female, 10-year-old, 15-year-old, 20-year-old, or rich or poor, or citizen of this city or that country, or doctor, engineer, lawyer, and student. All these are conditioned identity, because all these conditions can be changed, right? The city can be changed, the citizenship can be changed, the profession can be changed, the color of skin changes, the bodily looks change, all the cells of the body change in 7 years, including the brain cells. But the self does not change, right? So the true position is Swarupena Vyavasthitaha, and that is to understand the true self through the process of bhakti. That is the real life. And there are two types of samadhis also mentioned here. One through the philosophical research, other through the negation of the mundane pleasures. But Prabhupada makes a very nice point here that today's so-called yoga practice involves just various sense pleasure is a contradictory. A yogi indulging in sex and intoxication is a mockery. Prabhupada said that in the last time also we discussed that, if you remember. Just twisting the body here and there and trying to enjoy material senses is basically a mockery. So a Krishna conscious person is so happy in his occupation that he does not aspire for any other happiness, because Krishna consciousness is the topmost happiness. Prabhupada said, We have come to give the topmost happiness. The happiness derived from the material senses is very tuchha sukha, as Prahlad Maharaj says. The happiness derived from, there is Jad Ananda, Jad Jagat, this material world is called Jad Jagat. So any sort of happiness derived from this, maybe going to some place or so-called friendship, so-called money, so-called cars and home, there may be very insignificant, minute pleasure in those things, which become a cause of suffering, right? So many people have a kind of, they say, oh, I love adventure sports, right? Adventure sports, mountain climbing and skydiving, but so many people die in that, right? So many people die. Well, we all know of these facts. So basically it becomes a cause of pleasure. So many people break their bones, right, by doing such things. But above that is Brahmananda, the pleasure of merging in the impersonal Brahman. That's also not the topmost. The topmost is Premananda, which can be experienced when we are in Swarupa Vyavastitaha, when our true identity is Krishna's eternal servant. And one who is in that identity is actually a true transcendentalist. So Bhakti Yoga means spiritual emotion. Dhyana Yoga means negation of emotion. So let's read one more nice point, because in this verse, if you remember, we also studied that person becomes free from dualities. One is not shaken. Reversals will come, difficulties will come, great difficulties will come, right? In everyone's life, no matter who we are, no matter how rich or poor or which city or state we are, educated or uneducated, all these things are same. We will all go through difficulties. But a person in that position, in Krishna consciousness, will not be shaken. Let's see what Prabhupada is saying here from the purport. Such incidents, is happy in Krishna consciousness. Such incidents like disease, scarcity, even death of a most dear relative, there will be incidental occurrences, but he is always alert to execute his or her duties in Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga. Accidents never deviate him or her from his duty, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Agama paino nityastam stitikshosa bharata. He endures all such incidental occurrences because he knows that they come and go and do not affect his duties. In this way, he achieves the perfection in the science of yoga practice. So, very, very important line here, this section, that difficulties will come, reversals will come, ups and downs will come in everyone's life. Sometimes scarcity, sometimes disease, sometimes accidents, sometimes loss of a dear, most relative. Many people have this question, oh, my dear uncle's mother's father's grandson passed away. Therefore, I have stopped offering yoga. Therefore, I have stopped offering chanting. Therefore, I have stopped this. Arey Baba, unka naam bhi nahi malum. He doesn't even know the name of that person, because such a even distant relative. Here, Prabhupada is talking about a most dear relative. Even sometimes people say, so artificial rituals, and they stop the process of bhakti. Prabhupada is so clearly, if anyone, come across this question, this is as it is, purport. Prabhupada is as it is mentioning in the purport. I'm not, saying anything. I'm just reading the purport. Accidents don't deviate him from his duty. Yes, the schedule may be a little different, right? But the process of bhakti is always alert to execute Bhakti Yoga. So the core principle should not stop, like chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, offering bhoga to the deities, etc. So offering, reading, hearing. Rather, if in our principle is Sukhe Tako, Dukhe Tako, Sada Hari Bole Tako. Whether in happiness or distress, one should chant the holy name. Prabhupada quotes this great poet, devotional poet, at many times in the Bhagavatam. Dukh mein simran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi, jo sukh mein simran kare to dukh kahe ko ho. One who learns to remember Krishna at all times, happiness or distress, home or forest, young or old, married or unmarried, then in all situations one will be equipoised. And that's what we all want. That whenever because things will change, conditions will change, age will change, health will change, things will go up and down. But what do we all want? To never forget Krishna and always remember Krishna, the process of bhakti. And that will happen when we continue to practice, not give away, not stop when these difficulties come. Rather, we should take that process with more sincerity and seriousness when those challenges come in our lives. Okay, any other comments anyone has in this text? Okay, let's read 24. Yes, Pasati, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Text 24. Sha nishchayena yaktavyo yogo nirvina chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamams tyaktva sarvan asesataha. Manasai vendriya gamam gramam vinaya maya samantataha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. These three verses are very important for all of us. All the verses are important, but these three are very important, especially for the sadhana bhaktas, which refers to all of us who are trying to improve our sadhana bhakti, who are trying to improve our chanting, or trying to improve our determination, trying to improve our focus of mind. These three verses are very, very important. So practice with determination and faith and not deviated. All these points are very important. You have to practice with determination, with faith, and not deviating, unceasing. It's not that, okay, so basically patience, right? So determination, faith, and patience. So utsa, nishcha, and dharya. Prabhupada is quoting Rupa Goswami's nectar of instruction. Utsa, nishchaya, dharya, tat karma pravartanat, sangatyaga sato vritte, shadbhir bhakti prasiddhyati. These are the 6 qualities to improve our bhakti practice. So one can execute the process of bhakti successfully. How? Utsaha, with enthusiasm, full-hearted enthusiasm. We just read. Nishchaya, perseverance or determination. Dharya, determination. Utsaha, nishchaya, dharya. Tat karma pravartana. Following the prescribed duties in the association of devotees and engaging completely in the activities of goodness. Sangatyaga, to give up the bad association. Sato vritte, to follow the great souls. These are the 6 symptoms to 6 qualities. And Prabhupada is giving a story. I think you all like stories, so I'll share this story. Prabhupada is telling a story about determination. One time the ocean stole the eggs of a small bird. Right? The wave came, the bird had laid egg on the ocean shore. The wave came and took the eggs. And the bird was very sad, upset. Hey, my eggs have been taken. And the bird said, well, you give my eggs back. And otherwise, what will you do otherwise? I'm such a big ocean. You're a tiny bird. What will you do? The bird said, I'll dry you up. Oh, you'll dry me up? Look at your size. And the bird was very determined. The ocean didn't give the eggs back. So the bird started to take drops of water in her like little tiny beak. She took the water and put on the other side. Came back, took some water, flew, put on the other side. So she was ready. She did that for hours and hours. Seeing that, Garuda, the king of the birds, the Vahan of Lord Vishnu, came. And Garuda said, give the eggs back. And Ocean said, yes, sir. So, the very nice lesson actually. Drishtva parishramam Krishna kripya asit swabandhani. When Krishna sees the effort of a devotee with determination, with enthusiasm, with sincerity, we don't have power to control our mind and senses, right? Anyone here feeling that I can control my mind and senses on my own? No. It's very difficult. Arjuna is such a stalwart devotee. He will say later, we'll read that, I can control the wind. Can anyone of us control the wind? What to speak of controlling the wind? We cannot control our body's, body, what to speak of controlling the wind. The point is, Arjuna, being such a great devotee, Kshatriya, powerful in every aspect, is saying that I am a Mahamurkha. How can I control my mind and senses? But showing that determination, showing I'm trying, Krishna, I'm practicing, I'm struggling, I'm trying, I'm practicing, and we have to keep trying and keep trying. Even though we fail, we keep trying, we beg for Krishna's mercy. Krishna will see my child is sincerely trying, let me help. Let me intervene. We should be helpless, not hopeless. Prabhupada said that actually to Ananta Mataji, and she always says this story. We should be helpless, not hopeless in the path of bhakti. So let's see a few lines from the purport. I shared the story. We'll discuss this verse. So this is about determination. Then Garuda, the sparrow, is again happy by the grace of Garuda, the grace of the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the practice of yoga, especially Bhakti Yoga and Krishna consciousness, may appear to be a very difficult job, right? But if anyone follows the principles with great determination, the Lord will surely help, for God helps those who help themselves. Very nice point. We should not think, some people say, well, whenever God wants to shower His mercy, it will come. Let me just take it easy. Let me take it easy. Patience, lot of patience, right? Let's see what is Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says about this Utsaha, Nishchaya, and Dharya. So you see this diagram or table here. When someone has a lot of patience, Dharya, okay, take it easy. Bhakti, what's the hurry? So much life is left. Take it easy. It's ignorance, right? Well, people are interested for the fruits of the work. There's a lot of enthusiasm for the fruits, but for doing the work, there is patience, right? Materialistic people they want the fruits. Everyone wants more fruits, less work, right? But doing the work, there is patience. So basically, that's not really patience, that's kind of ignorance. This comes in the mode of ignorance. So ignoring what is in our control, our effort, our determination, and expecting great results is basically foolishness. What is passion? Passion means enthusiasm. Do this, do, just do it. Live life, king size, be happy, work hard, party harder, do. You can do it. We all can do it. There is no patience, no determination, no control of mind and senses. It's passion. Utsaha is there, but lack of guidance, lack of determination, and lack of patience also. In bhakti also, some people, well, I've been chanting for the last 2 months, nothing has happened yet, right? I've been chanting for 2 years, nothing has happened, so I want to give up. No deviation, right? Don't deviate. It takes time. It takes time. We have been serving the material energy, the conditioned mind and senses for millions of lifetimes, not just millions of years. Millions of lifetimes we have been. Will it be easy? When a Titanic is flowing in full swing in one direction, and the Titanic realizes by the mediums of GPS, Guru Parampara system, sorry, we had to go south. We were going north. Now we have to take a U-turn, right? We were going north, we have to go south. The GPS guided, the Guru Parampara system guided. Now, do you think that it's in 1 minute Titanic will take a turn? No, it's with such heavy momentum. It's such heavy mass and velocity. It's moving in the wrong direction. It's not easy to make that turn, right? As you were discussing yesterday also, the path of bhakti means flowing upstream on the river. Flowing downstream, everyone flows that. There is no coaching classes, how to indulge in wrong things, how to talk, how to just gossip. There are no classes, how to waste time, how to drink alcohol, how to do bad things. There are no classes, there are no discussions. People naturally follow that because that's the universal law, that the chaos or entropy or disorderness will always increase without effort. Correct? To make the home clean, there is effort required. To make the home unclean, effort is not required. Just leave, don't clean for 10 days. Do you expect the home will be clean? Right? But to clean it, there is effort required, like flowing upstream. So we have to have, and then this is passion. Okay, what is goodness? There is enthusiasm and there is patience. Okay, slow and steady, slow and steady. Yeah, keep doing, but determination is not there. Nishcha is not there. Firm faith is not there. But when one has all the three, there is sincere enthusiasm that I will do my best, Krishna. Yes, you have given me this chance. I will leave no stone unturned in the path of bhakti. As we were discussing, yes, as Mataji liked this point, that Krishna, I am going to show my 100% sincerity. If my death has to come today, I can say, Krishna, I did my best, right? I will leave not so enthusiasm, and I will not deviate also. It's not that I will do for only one day. I will continue to do. Mama janmani janmanishwari. Even if you feel I'm not ready, you give me birth as a dog. Okay, but give me birth as a dog in the home of a devotee, so I can get the remnants. I can hear Krishna Katha. Patience, not demanding. We cannot demand anything in bhakti. Bhakti is given. Mercy is given. Blessings are given, not asked for. Seva is executed through enthusiasm, through determination, through patience. And naturally the blessings, the mercy, kripa means kar and pa. With sincere effort, that person, that devotee will sincerely receive the blessings of Guru, Krishna, Vaishnavas by sincerely trying to execute bhakti through enthusiasm, through determination, nishchaya, through patience, not deviating. And that's basically Shuddha Sattva. So that's what we have to aspire for. That's what we have to sincerely seek for. And let's read, because we want to cover 2 more verses. Let's read the text 25. We can take some reflections also after this. Yes, Parna Mataji, please. Parna Mataji, wanted to read? Yes, Shital Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I read?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna devotees, Dandat Pranam. Text number 25. Sani Sanir Uparame Buddhaya Dhriti Grahitaya Atma Samstham Manak Kratva Na Kinchit Hapi Chintayet. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, situated by full conviction. And thus, the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Shanai Shanai. Even like hearing this word is so soothing. Shanai Shanai. Step by step. Gradually. Bhakti is not an overnight process for majority. So we should not artificially do something. Oh, that person is doing, let me do it. Oh, that Goswami is doing, let me do it. Oh, Goswami stopped eating and sleeping, let me just artificially. This is not bhakti. We may do for one day and then we'll stop for 1 month. Right? So we don't want to do that. As even Lord Chaitanya said to in the Madhya Leela, Yahara Komala Shraddha Sei Kanishta Jana Krame Krame Teno Bhakta Haibe Uttama. Komal Shraddha. Komal means soft. One whose faith is soft. It's not drida. Drida means firm faith. So one whose faith is not drida, what to do? You cannot artificially make it. Krame krame, step by step. Shanai shanai, step by step. Let's continue to take baby steps in the right direction. This picture is very nice here. And it's kind of self-explanatory. If a person takes baby steps, step by step, in the right direction, then that person will reach great heights, right? Whether, especially in spiritual life, it's very important. If someone tries to jump artificially, oh, that person is shining 16 rounds or 32 rounds from tomorrow, I'll also chant. He chants for 1 or 2 days and then stops for a month or gets back to the old state. So we want to have a sustainable system of bhakti, not just do for 1 day, 1 night, and then stop for 1 year. This is not bhakti. We have to practice throughout, so that we have to live life in such a way so that we make gradual adjustments to our life and to our lifestyle, so that slowly, now slowly means it has to be coupled with utsaha nishchay dharya, right? It should not be, okay, I'll I'll give up this bad habit I have maybe by the end of my life. So it has to be gradual, but at the same time, for example, like if someone is getting up at 8 o'clock, okay, just an example, and then that person decides, well, I want to get up in the Brahma Muhurta hours. It may be a little hard from suddenly jump from 8 to 4 or 4:30, right? So that person can try, okay, maybe 30 minutes earlier, maybe 30 minutes, maybe, okay, I'll sleep 30 minutes early, I'll get up 30 minutes. A few days he sustains, a few weeks he sustains there, then next step, then the next step, baby steps. Jumping from 8 to 4 would be a bigger step, and then it will, he or she may revert back to the old habit, right? So the importance of gradual improvement is very important. Yes, Nandini Mataji wanted to share something, I guess.
Yes, Gaur Gopal Prabhu has a very nice statement for that. People expect Aaj Bharti, Kal Chakravarti. Today you join and tomorrow you want to be the emperor of the world. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. That's so nice. Even in college, or let's say one has to become an engineer or doctor, they don't become in 1 or 2 days. Years and years, decades of hard work, right? To to get knowledge of one tiny field, right? And that to limit it, right? But to speak of spiritual life. So we should be enthusiastic and steady and with determination, not give up and not try to kind of take a big step and then fall down, right? Balance, we discussed last time. Yuktahara priyasascha. You have to regulate and then nicely balance. Yes, last verse for today. Who wants to read?
Could I read?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yato yato klati manas karikalam asthiram tatastato nidayam yati dhimana eva vasam nayat. Translation: from wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Back to you, Haribol.
Hare Krishna. This verse is often quoted on how to improve our chanting. The nature of the mind is flickering, like a restless child, right? Like a monkey, one tree to the other. Like the kids, sometimes they want a candy, they'll see a toy, oh, I want the toy, or they'll see a car, oh, I want that car. They'll see some other food stuff, oh, I want that food stuff. They'll see uncle has come, oh, I want the uncle. They'll see some, teddy bear has come, I want that. Basically, moving from one branch to the other. Mind is like a restless child, or like a monkey. But for those who are trying to practice the path of bhakti, or trying to control, one has to bring back. Very simple. Wherever the mind wanders, bring it back. Bring it back. Practice, practice, practice. It will again go, bring back. Okay, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And suddenly, well, tomorrow I have to submit this in the office. What will I do? Okay. Oh, and we have to be cognizant. And then we realize, oh, I should be chanting. Right now I'm chanting. Let me bring it. I'll think about the office tomorrow, right? Right now. Spiritual life means to do what we are doing. Very simple. To be, that's what basically called be present, right? Be mindful. To be absorbed. If you're cooking, let's cook for Krishna. If we are, be with the family, be with the family. If you are eating, eat, right? That's the formula for great relationships. To give 100% attention. I'm quite guilty of that because it's not easy, but to give 100% attention, because prasadam is also Krishna. We should give attention to prasad. When we are hearing a class, we should hear the class. When we are reading Bhagavad Gita, we should read Bhagavad Gita. When we are with the family, be with the family. As His Grace Vishika Prabhu was mentioning, if you are talking to your husband, wife, son, or daughter, let's say you're talking to me, okay, and then suddenly I start checking my phone. Okay, yeah, keep going. Okay. Oh, what did you say? Oh, okay, keep going. Okay, yeah, I'll take it. How will you feel? Disrespected, insulted, right? Bad, correct? And that's what happens with any relationship. And japa is also a relationship, a conversation with Krishna. So in the japa also, if you are chanting, but at the same time doing like 10 different things, physically, mentally, there are 3 levels of attention actually. It's a very important point. Physical level. Physical inattentiveness could be doing something, multitasking. Like I'm doing japa at the same time I'm watching TV, or watching a cricket match, or cooking, or grocery shopping, or japa is going, the other thing is also going. Physically inattentive. That's the next is mental inattentiveness. Physical inattentiveness is easy to cure, right? You just have to make a habit that when I'm doing japa, I'll keep my phone, I'll keep other things aside. Mental inattentiveness could be making a to-do list. After japa, I have to do this. During japa, tomorrow I have to do this. I have to go to grocery. Oh, my friend said this. Why did she say like that? Why did he say like that? Mental to-do list is going on, or mental talk is going on. We're not doing something externally. We're not moving our hands or legs to anything other, but mentally we are inattentive. I'm just sharing all this for my own benefit, so I can be more mindful. And then the third and the inner level is the inattentiveness at the heart. Our heart is not engaged. We're not really crying for Krishna. We're not really prayerful mood. Okay, I'm chanting, I'm trying to hear, but not really paying much attention and sincerely seeking in a prayerful mood, trying to absorb every word, trying to seek as if I really want Krishna. A person who really wants, when Gajendra's leg was caught by the crocodile, he was not thinking of anything else. He was not doing anything else. He was 100% absorbed, mentally, physically, and in the heart, in Krishna, in calling for Krishna. When Draupadi's life was in danger, when her sari was being disrobed, she first asked for help from others, husbands and grandparents, etc. When no one came to help, she was physically, mentally, and in the heart doing one thing, calling out for Govinda. So these are some great examples. Is it difficult? Yes, it's absolutely difficult. Because it's very natural for the mind to be carried away. Why? For the millions of lifetimes, all we have been doing is material sense gratification. We haven't even made an attempt to control the mind and senses and to engage them in Krishna's service. So it is very natural, like the example of Titanic. It was natural, it will, like the flow of the river, it's natural for any straw or petal or leaf to flow in the direction of river downstream. It doesn't take effort, it doesn't take any thought. So without utsaha, nishchay, dharya, without practice, without determination, the mind will go in the wrong direction. That's pretty natural. So one should not be surprised. One should not be too heavy upon. One should not feel hopeless also, right? That I'm trying, it's not working. Patience. It won't work overnight. One has to keep trying. It has to keep trying. And this is basically Goswami. One who controls the mind and the senses is Goswami. Otherwise, one is Godas, servant of the senses. And we should pray, Krishna, I'm struggling with my mind and senses. You are the master of the senses. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruttamam. You please help me out. I can't do it on my own. Ekaki amara nahi paya bala. Pray to Vaishnavas, pray to Guru, pray to Krishna, pray to Prabhupada. Help me out. I'm struggling. I really want help. Then Krishna, Guru, Parampara, Acharyas, devotees will certainly help us out. So I just thought to share. We have 10 more minutes. We can take some reflections, some additions, some comments, some question, anything you want to say, tell, ask. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to share and to read together, here together. Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. So, in the 19 bars and also as well as 25 bars, so it is telling that meditate on the transcendental self, and it also one should fix the mind on the self alone. So, what is the self meaning here? Paramatma.
As we discussed before, thank you for this nice question. These verses are of Dhyana Yoga, correct? A chapter entitled. But Prabhupada so beautifully helps us to link every verse, every chapter to Bhakti Yoga. And if you read the last line of the purport of 25th, this state, That means absorption in the self. Basically, Atma's connection with Paramatma. The Dhyana yogis, they meditate upon the Paramatma, as we discussed. That's their object of meditation. Their realization is up to the Paramatma level. The super soul sitting in everyone's heart. They don't have the Bhagavan realization, as we have discussed. Ultimate goal is complete absorption in Krishna, but very rare souls, right? Very rare souls, because the process is so difficult, very rare souls are able to reach till that level. So Prabhupada is mentioning in 25th purport last time, this state, the difficult state of absorption in the self and the supreme self, one should think of no pleasure aside from this pleasure of the supreme self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. Yes, these verses are primarily, Krishna is talking about Dhyana Yoga, but Prabhupada is linking us to Bhakti Yoga. And the following 6 chapters from 7 to 12 will be core Bhakti Yoga. And that's the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So even if the beauty of Prabhupada's purport, the beauty of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, and all our great Vaishnava Acharyas, the Gaudiya Vaishnava, from every verse, they help us to connect to the most sublime and easy process of Bhakti Yoga. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else has any reflection? Something struck you, something inspired you, something you want to add, or something similar you heard? Yes.
You spoke about qualities of bhakti, yoga, that is bhakti, utsaha, dhairya, sang, tyaga. Are there 6 or 3 as mentioned in 24?
24 is primarily mentioning, there are multiple qualities actually, but in 24, 3 primarily are discussed, and then Prabhupada is giving reference to another book called Nectar of Instruction by one of our great acharyas called Rupa Goswami. Over there, 6 are mentioned which are favorable to bhakti, and 6 are mentioned which are not favorable to bhakti. And that's all of your homework, to study those 6 which are favorable and 6 which are not favorable. And it's easily available. The book is available on Veda Base. Some of you may have a physical copy also. Is that okay?
Okay.
In the purport, you will see the ones which are favorable or help. But the next verse in Nectar of Instruction talks about which are not favorable, right? Greed, envy, etc. Okay, anyone else has any other reflections, additions?
You speak the 3 other words.
3 other ones in text 24.
Yeah. As mentioned, it's enthusiasm, perseverance, and determination. What are the other 3 words?
To have association of devotees, to follow in the footsteps of great previous acharyas, and to act as per their direction. Let me now, since you're asking, let me take to the exact verse, the Nectar of Instruction, so we can. Yeah, enthusiasm, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to the regulative principles, right? Like devotional service, hearing, chanting, abandoning the association of non-devotees, sangat tyaga, asat sangat tyaga, hey Vaishnavachar, and following the footsteps of previous acharyas. These are the 6 qualities which will help to be successful in the path of bhakti. Text number 2. talks about the ones which are not conducive for bhakti. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha lolyam cha shadbhir bhakti vinashyati vinash ho jata hai inse. What are those 6? Eating more than necessary or collecting funds more than required, over endeavoring for mundane things which are too difficult to obtain, talking unnecessarily, gossip, wasting time in gossip, mundane thoughts, practicing this scriptural rules just for the sake of the rules, or not following any rules. What's the use of rules? Rejecting rules altogether, associating with worldly people. So see, it's very important. Rupa Goswami is mentioning the association part in both, right? In the do's and the don'ts. In the 6 which are favorable, what is favorable? To give a bad association. And what is unfavorable? To associate with the worldly people who are not interested in bhakti. And being greedy for mundane achievements. This leads to destruction of bhakti. Okay, anyone else wants to say something?
Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So I was also looking at 24, like it says, patience, determination without deviation, faith, control of senses of mind, and giving up all material desires born out of mental concoction. And also in 25, there are 3 more, right, Prabhuji? Intelligence sustained by full conviction, mind fixed on oneself, not thinking of anything else, as you said while doing japa, and step by step one achieves the success. Looking at that. So I also wanted to, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, wonderful. Yeah, go ahead. It's very nice comment.
Yeah. Another thing, Prabhuji, so I always remember of whenever I read 9/11, Avajananti Mamuda, and today is 9/11, 20 years after this happened. I was yesterday, we had a meeting in our and they were discussing about 9/11, and I always remember whenever I see 9/11, Avajananti Mamuda. So I was thinking about it, and how fools can't understand, and they try to destroy somebody else's or whatever it may be. So I was thinking, if we all can read Bhagavad Gita and take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, all this will not happen. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a great way to remember verses through any way and any whatever helps to remember Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is very nice. Thank you. Okay, one last comment, addition, question before we stop for today. Okay, I guess we will.
Prabhuji, as Sudip Prabhuji mentioned, Avajanante Mamura Manushim Tunum Astitam. It is true, like 9th chapter probably will coming, will explain, but this is coming to me mind. So in the spiritual world, what is the Krishna's form? This is the same form, the way he comes, descends here. Though in the material world, still he is Shat-Chit Ananda, and spiritual all the same. So, but doesn't it look like Manushim from even both world?
So what's the question, bro?
So here, like in 9/11, Krishna is saying that fools dread me when I descend in the human form. So what form Krishna has in spiritual world?
Yeah, he's the Sham Sundar form. And of course, all the incarnations are there. The Vishnu form is different, but Krishna is the Sham Sundar form.
So this is a human form 200, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so that, okay, so probably Krishna telling that when he comes the Sham Sundar form, uneven people deride him, but when he comes with the 400, 600, then people take him seriously.
Some people may, some people may not, right? Some people, like for example, they feel, well, I have 2 hands, God has 2 hands. I have 2 eyes, God has 2 eyes. He is not God. He is just an ordinary, maybe he is human with a special power, like Duryodhana used to think, right? Like some Mayavi or something. So they may have faith in the Virat Rupa, right? As Prabhupada says in multiple, when the Virat Rupa, oh, that very, 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 very kind of ghastly and scary form. You say, yeah, this seems to be like God. But some people maybe may not even have faith there, right? So it depends on the degree of their faith. But for a devotee, like Arjuna, he didn't want to see Virat Rupa. He said, you want to see the two-handed Shyamsundar form. Some people may have faith in Nrsimhadev. That's something special. But they may not have faith in the two-handed form, right? This is a good example. Like some people, are attached to seeing some miracles. Guru means one who does miracles, but they may not have faith in a sincere, bona fide devotee of Lord. So it depends. Faith is not like black and white. Either you have faith or don't have faith. So there are different gradations of that faith.
Thank you, Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I think we may need 1 or 2 more sessions at least for the chapter 6. And then if you all want, we can do a quiz also. I think, should we do it till chapter 6? Should we do it? Okay. So we'll do a quiz till chapter 6. So whenever there is an exam, that doesn't mean you have to study before the day of the exam. That means you have to study beforehand only. So it will probably by the end of the month, we will be there in 2 or 3 more sessions. So because the course is also, it's not just few verses, it's 6 chapters, right? So this will help all of us to study better, to read better, you can always, the classes are there, Prabhupada's classes are there, all resources are at your disposal. So you can continue to prepare, and I'm sharing in advance in about 3 to 4 weeks, we'll have this quiz. So you can all prepare nicely for the first 6 chapters. Okay, so we will pause here and see you next week. Bhagavad Gita Upanishad ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.